Okay, tribe. We are live. It's a little bit later than I expected. It's still early Thailand time. it's 11 a.m. Thailand time, but in the United States, East Coast time, it's 11:15 p.m. at nighttime. What is it in California? It's 11:08, about 8:15 p.m. in California Pacific time. But anyway, I made it. I'm here. I had it like a little bug that happened this morning. But we're gonna get rocking and rolling here. Just give me a couple seconds to get ready and get comfortable before I start putting you to sleep by reading things. Maybe you have a good night's sleep tonight after you listen to me. You're like, Chad, your voice puts me to sleep. I think I had a comment like that like a long time ago off of one of my YouTube videos. Then when I commented back, I'm like, I'm glad I could help you sleep better. But anyway, we're back into the science of getting rich. We did a wonderful live stream yesterday because I was just in the mood for it. I won't do a recap. It's public. What did I name it? I think I named it like how to make $20,000, something like that. So that was an hour live stream to check out. That's public on my channel. If you want to search for it, it's under the live stream section or the lives. But anyway, we are on chapter 6 in the Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. And let me see here. And chapter 6 is almost goes along with what we did yesterday. Chapter 6 is how riches come to you, how money comes to you. And with Wallace Wattles, it's he's saying how riches come to you, but he's more talking about abundance in general. Money is part of that. Money is part of abundance. Okay, but he is talking about abundance in general. Okay, my friends. I'm drinking some healthy Coke, and I have some cherry juice on it just to make it a little bit more healthier than what it is. So I was getting hungry when I was like, dude, I gotta go live first before I eat. Okay, but let's get rocking and rolling. Let's see how my eyes are doing today. Put on my glasses so I can see. How riches come to you. And I kind of wrote in it, this is the golden rule of success right here. When I say that you do not have to drive sharp bargains, I do not mean that you do not have to drive any bargains at all, or that you are above the necessity for having any dealings with other people. I mean that you will not need to deal with them unfairly. You do not have to you do not have to get something for nothing. You can give to every person more than you take from them. This is why I named this the golden rule of success. The golden rule of success is actually by Napoleon Hill. If you kind of dive into his material, if we dive into Think and Grow Rich, I can't remember if he talks about the golden rule of success in the Science of Getting Rich or if it's within his law of success. Now, his law of success book, I have it. I just don't have it in Thailand with me. It's back in the United States in my office in the United States. But that book is like the law of success is like that thick. I'm not even joking. It's an intense read because it's flipping long. Okay, but the law of success is actually where Think and Grow Rich came from. Think and Grow Rich is basically a condensed version of the law of success by Napoleon Hill. That's his golden rule. With Napoleon Hill, the golden rule of success is what Wallace Wattles just said. What you can give to every person more than you take from them. Basically, you go above and beyond. Okay. You cannot give a person more in cash value than you take from them. but you can give them more in use value than the cash value of the thing you take from them. The paper, ink, and other material in this book may not be worth the money you paid for it, but if the ideas in this book bring you thousands of dollars, you have not been wronged by those who said it to you. They have given you a great use value for a small cash value, meaning that kind of meaning like, really when you just think about the paper and everything, you know, a book is really cheap, you know what I mean? So what he's saying is if the ideas out of this book made you make more money, maybe you make thousands of dollars, maybe you became rich out of the ideas. So you got more in value than you actually put into it. You understand what he's saying. He's just giving it he's kind of giving it more of a business example, like an entrepreneur example. So let us suppose I own a pitcher which in any civilized community is worth thousands of dollars. I take it to I take it to Baffin Bay and by salesmanship induce an Eskimo to give a bundle of furs worth $500 for it. I really have wronged him because he has no use for the pitcher. He has no use value to him. It will not add value to his life. But suppose I gave him a gun worth $50 for his furs. Then he has made a good bargain. He has use for the gun. It will give him more furs and much food. It will add to his life in every way. It will make him rich. Now he's going to get better with this. I mean, it's kind of starting off a little bit confusing. Bear with me here a little bit, or bear with Wallace Wattles with this chapter. When you rise from the competitive to the creative plane, you can scan your business transactions very strictly. If you see that you are selling a person anything that does not add more to his life than the thing he gives you in exchange, you can afford to stop it. You do not have to beat anybody in business. And if you are in business, which does beat people, get out of it at once. Give people more in use value than you take from them in cash value. Then you are adding to the life of the world with every business transaction. Sorry, I'm like taking a sip and I'm reading a comment. Hey, Dante, how are you? Okay, let's continue on. If you have if you have people working for you, you must take from them more and you sorry, I'm gonna back up here. If you have more people working for you, you must take from them more in cash value than you pay them in wages. But you can organize your business so that it will be filled with the principle of advancement. Thus, each employee who wishes to do so may advance a little every day. You can make your business do far more your sorry, I'm like stumbling over my words today. I don't know why. You can make your business do for your employees what this book is doing for you. You can conduct your business so that it will be a ladder by which every willingly employee may climb to riches himself, and it is not your fault if they do not accept the opportunity. And I know he's kind of giving a business examples right now, but this kind of reminds me. Have you ever had a job? Now I've had a jobs in the past and a way in the beginning of my career, okay, where you get a job, they don't really have a personal development side to it. They don't. they kind of look down, they kind of like indirectly look down on, if you, let's say you want to go back to school, you want to go back to college, you want to get your associate's degree or bachelor's degree, and they kind of indirectly frown on it. You understand? I mean, I remember I had a I had a boss one time. I took a year off college because I got mono and I got really sick, so I had to take a year off college. Um, and I had a boss. My boss, he had a secretary. The secretary wanted to take some like night classes. She still was going to work, and she was taking night classes. So she was trying to figure out if the company would pay or pay half for a class or something like that. And, I was standing with my boss when he said this. He was literally like, "No, why would I pay for your why would the company pay for your school? Then once you're out of school, you just go get a better job." You understand? Like this is what Wallace Wattles is talking about, but he's talking about in business. That's why I give you a business example, because sometimes we've all had those examples with certain jobs. Like they they don't want to develop you. They don't want to develop your skills because they know if they develop you and develop your skills, you're going to go someplace else and make better money. Okay. But the great jobs out there, the great companies out there actually develop you. They're develop you into a better person. You got better skills because they don't care either way. They look at it as that if they develop you, you're going to want to stay. Yes, you might move on and get a better job or whatnot, but they're happy for you. Those are the great companies out there, not the companies that purposely hold you back, and keep you from developing yourself because they think you're going to leave anyway. That's kind of what Wallace Wattles is saying. Okay, then let's continue on. Even though you can cause your riches to come out of the formless substance which permeates all of your environment, it does not follow that your fortune will immediately take shape from the atmosphere and come into being before your eyes. That he kind of just means is genuine manifesting. It doesn't mean like I want to manifest $20,000. So it's on tomorrow. I'm gonna wake up to it. Okay, I'm gonna live in the end like never Goddard. I'm gonna act like the most successful version of me, and tomorrow it's gonna happen. Okay, listen. If you want a sewing machine, for instance, I would suggest that before you impress the thought of the sewing machine on the thinking substance, you first make sure the image of the machine is clearly formed in your mind. Now he's talking about imagination. If you want a sewing machine, have the mental image of it with the most positive certainty that it is being made or is on its way to you. After once forming the thought, have the most absolute and unquestioning faith. Now, when he says faith, I like to use the word belief. Faith means belief. Interchange these words a little bit, make the words a little bit stronger. Have the absolute and unquestioning faith that the sewing machine is coming to you. Never think of it or speak of it without feeling confident that it will arrive. Claim it as already yours. So all he's saying here, I mean, I've done so many videos about Never Galter, the law of assumption. This is living the end right here. Okay, just by Wallace Wattles. This is how Wallace Wattles is talking about it. Is if you want something, you act like you already have it. It's already coming to you. That's it. Okay. You want your dream house, you already have your dream house, so you act like it. You want your dream car, you already have it, so you act like it. Okay. It's not about how you got something, you already have it now. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole just yet on those thoughts. Continuing on. Continuing on about this sewing machine right here. It will be brought to you by the power of the supreme intelligence acting upon the mind of mankind. If you live in Maine, it may be that a person will be brought from Texas or Japan to engage in some transaction, which will result in your getting what you want. If so, the whole matter will be as much that the person's advantage as it is yours. Do not forget for a moment that the thinking substance is in everything, communicating with everything, and able to influence everything. The desire of the thinking substance for more life and better living has caused the creation of all the sewing machines that ever been made. And it can cause the creation of millions more. It will do so whenever people set it in motion by desire and faith and by acting in a certain way. Kind of what kind of came to thought is getting out of our own way. Okay. Stop controlling the how. Because what Wallace and Wattles is talking about is is when you get out of your own way, you stop controlling the how things are going to happen. You're letting you things can come to you many different ways, my friends. Okay. Things can come to you a thousand different ways. But what we end up doing is we kind of, I mean, 100%, we get it, we get in our own way. Technically, we stop our manifestations. Okay. Sometimes we stop it from, we just don't believe it. Okay. And we have to work on our belief. Okay. Sometimes we stop it that we, I mean, we believe we can have our dream house, but we're trying to figure it out on our own. We're trying to control the how. We're trying to control the one way or the two ways that might come to us when in reality, there's 100 different ways that might come to us. Okay. But we're kind of like tunnel vision. We have tunnel vision on this one way. Okay. Like yesterday during the live, I gave an example. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for almost my whole life. Okay. I mean, I've worked as an employee and stuff like that, but but when I was growing up, we had martial arts schools. I competed in martial arts professionally. So that was like when I was like 15ish. Um, so I've always kind of had that entrepreneur bug in me. And so I've been an entrepreneur for like 25 years, 30 years now. So I think the danger zone of being an entrepreneur is you got multiple streams of income. Okay, you make money five, six, seven different ways. So like when I want to manifest something, or if it has like money around it, maybe it's money, maybe it's a dream house, dream car, which again, money's involved. My mind goes into analytical mode. My mind goes into, hmm, you know, my business over here. If I make this many sales, then I get this money I want to attract. So I start controlling the outcome, which all I'm doing is blocking it, my friends. Okay. So that's what I mean is lots of times we get on our own way of what we want. We don't just let the whatever your religious background is, you just don't let the universe do its job. Okay, you don't let God do its job of bringing things to you that you want. And it might happen the way you thought it, but and it might not. It might just it's coming over from an angle you never expected before. I I kind of have a funny story about that, but for another time. Okay, let's continue. This chapter isn't that long. We only have a couple more pages. Okay, going back to this sewing machine. You can certainly have a sewing machine in your house. You can have anything you want as long as you use it for the advancement of your own life and lives of others. You need not hesitate about asking largely, it is your Father's pleasure to give you the kingdom. I love that. You need not hesitate to ask largely. Okay. If abundance is infinite, abundance is divine, abundance is our birthright. I know I say this over and over and over. I sound like a broken record. As you can never ask for enough. You know what I mean? Once you get your dream house, 100% guaranteed, you're going to want a better house. Just because it's not because you're materialistic, it's just because that's how abundance works. We always want to improve. We always want more. Okay, now I'm using a materialistic example, but we always want to get better, and that abundance is infinite. So you always want to have that desire to be better and to improve. And that basically flows over to materialistic things as well. It also flows over to, just self-improvement, being a better person, being the most successful version of me, doing good for people, being in charities. Everything's connected to all of this. It's not just one piece of the pie. Okay, it's all the pieces. Everything's interconnected. The original substance wants to live as much as possible in you. It wants you to have all that you can or will use for living of the most abundant life. Your faith, your belief becomes invisible if you fix upon your consciousness the fact that the desire you feel for the possession of riches is one with the desire of the supreme power for more complete expression. To me, here, he's kind of, I mean, I can explain it many ways, but kind of the one things that kind of my thought is living in harmony with universal law. Okay. Depending upon your beliefs, living in harmony with God's law. Okay. The more you live in harmony with it, going to flow into your life. The more you don't live in harmony with it, the more kind of not trouble you have, but on a manifesting sense, if you don't live in harmony with universal laws, on a manifesting sense, success sense, well, things aren't going to come to you. Things always are going to come to you, but it's not going to be what you truly, truly want, my friends. Sorry, I think my the camera's up here, but for some reason I keep on looking over here. Once I saw a little boy sitting at a piano and vainly trying to bring harmony out of the keys. I saw that he was grieved and provoked by his inability to play real music. I asked him why he was unhappy, and he answered, I can feel the music in me, but I can't make my hands go right. The music substance containing all the possibilities of all life. All that there is of music was seeking expression through the child. God, the one substance, is trying to live and do and enjoy things through humanity. He is saying, I want hands to build wonderful structures, to play divine harmonies, to paint glorious pictures. I want feet to run my errands, eyes to see my beauties, tongues to tell mighty truths, and to sing marvelous songs. All that is possible is seeking expression through human beings. God wants those who can play music to have the instruments they need, to have the means to cultivate their talents to the fullest extent. He wants those who can appreciate beauty to be able to surround themselves with beautiful things. He wants those who can discern truth to have every opportunity to travel and observe. He wants those who can appreciate dress to be beautifully clothed, and those who can appreciate good food to be luxuriously fed. If I could say those words. He wants all these things because he enjoys and appreciates them. It is God who wants to play and sing and enjoy beauty and proclaim truth and wear fine clothes and eat good foods. It is God that works in you to will and to do. The desire to feel for riches is the infinite, seeking the expression himself in you as he sought to find expression in the little boy at the piano. You need not hesitate to ask largely. Your part is to focus and express the desires of God. Basically, he's kind of saying if God is abundant, that makes you abundant. Okay, my friends. If God is source power is within you. God isn't separate from you. Okay, God lives inside you. Okay, if God is not separate from you, if God is all abundance, that makes you abundance. That's why abundance is your birthright. That's why abundance is your domain. That's why we have dominion on this earth. Okay, because source God is not separate from you anymore. Okay, he was separate from you in the Old Testament. That's why they had to do animal sacrifices. But when Jesus died on the cross, Jesus broke the veil. Okay, Jesus broke the veil of separation. Okay, so once Jesus's death and he rose to resurrection, that made everything one. That means you and God are one now. You're not separate no more. You're not. I don't. You might be old enough to think remember the Care Bears. Sometimes I say God is not up in the clouds living with a Care Bear somewhere. God is inside of you. The Spirit is inside of you. Sometimes I say the Care Bears, but that was when I was a little boy. So that's an old cartoon. But it kind of reminds me of Sunday school. You go through Sunday school, it's not that they teach it on purpose, but I think maybe that's way we understand it, or maybe it's taught to us indirectly where God is separate. Okay. God isn't separate from us. Okay. God is inside of you. We can go deeper with this, but off on a really huge tangent. You need not hesitate to ask largely. You can never ask for too much. That's what it means. Abundance is infinite. Abundance will never run out. Okay? Abundance is divine. Divine means abundance is in all things. Good is in all things. It's just our perception of it. It's our perception of if something is good or bad. Okay? And to continue on, even Wallace Wattles says, since we're talking about this is a difficult point with most people. They retain something of the old idea that poverty and self-sacrifice are pleasing to God. Isn't that true? Like sometimes we think, I hate to use the word poverty. He said the word poverty. Like if I'm in poverty, or I can self-sacrifice, I give up myself to make this happen. Like we kind of think indirectly a little bit that not that it's pleasing to God, like we're going to get, let me get this notification off here, that we are going to get some type of, we're going to be blessed by God because I self-sacrifice. God's going to like me better than somebody else, and it just isn't true. Okay, so let's continue on. They look upon poverty as part of a plan, as a necessity of nature. They have the idea that God has finished his work and has made all that he can make, that the majority of humanity must stay poor because there is not enough to go around. Isn't that true? A little bit. Okay. Like abundance, abundance is for the lucky. There's a lack of abundance. There's only so much to go around. You understand? That's why Wallace Wallace talks a lot about the competitive and the creative plane. Okay. Is if you think or believe there's lack of abundance, well, you're going to be competitive. You think you got competition out there. You think you got to rush, and you got to try to find your dream house now because someone's going to take it from you. But if you believe in abundance, you believe in perfect timing. You believe, well, my dream house will always be there. Okay, when it's time for me to purchase my dream house, nobody's going to take anything from me. That's abundance is infinite. Abundance is divine. Okay, just finding where I left off. People hold on to this erroneous thought so much that they feel ashamed to ask for wealth. Do you feel ashamed to ask for money? maybe ashamed is a strong word, but do you just kind of feel different especially around money or materialistic things? It might not be money. It could be a car, a house. You understand? You kind of feel weird around it, weird to ask. You think, oh, I don't really need. Oh, you know why I feel. That's why Wallace Wattles brings this up. People hold an erroneous thought so much that they feel ashamed to ask for wealth. They try not to want more than just enough to make them fairly comfortable. And this right here is the law of assumption 101. Okay. Whatever you assume to be true has to be shown to you. Okay. And this is a double-edged sword. Whatever you assume to be true has to be shown to you. It doesn't matter if it's true or false. Whatever you assume to be true has to be shown to you in your 3D world. It has to come in your 3D world at some point. Okay. It could be good or bad. Whatever you assume to be true has to happen to you. Okay. That's why anymore as I get older, you know, I, you know, I I have my own thoughts around things. And, if I feel like debating with people, I debate. You know what I mean? If I don't, I don't, because it comes down to it comes down to that principle I'm sharing here. Whatever you assume to be true, you have to experience. Period. Period. If it's literally like if I believe that abundance is in all things, if I believe abundance experience that. But if you believe abundance is not, you experience that as well. Okay. If listen, like we all meet people. If you believe something is easy, it's going to be easy. But if someone else is going through the same thing, if they believe it's going to be hard, well, it's hard for them. Okay. We're going through the same exact thing. If I think, oh, it's going to be easy, I'm doing the same exact work, but my mindset that it's easy, it's going to be easy for me. It's going to be easier for me. If someone's caught up into it's going to be hard, well, it's going to be harder for them, and we're doing the same exact thing. Oh, I know. I can know with this example. I have a current one going on right now. Let me take a sip. A little bit dry. Dante, I'm glad that you're commenting there. Don't stop commenting. I just haven't I just haven't had a chance to read them all. But anyway, my example really fast is I just had a talk with Ang today. Okay, now Ang's my girlfriend. I've been in Thailand for like 4 years now, and we are getting ready to exit Surin. We right now we're up in her house in Surin. This is her like a generational house. That's how it kind of works in Thailand a little bit. I think her like great grandparents own this land and house. Okay, and it just moves from down to generations. Okay, so we came up here about a year ago to take care of her dad. Her dad wasn't doing very good. Uh, so that's kind of why we stayed in Surin. Okay. That's why sometimes the room looks a little bit chaotic because, we have to kind of keep our kind of valuables in this room. Okay. That's why the wall looks old because it is old. You're dealing with a Thai style house or you're dealing with a generational house. Okay. Um, but anyway, we came up here. We've been dealing with a lot up here. It's getting more and more drama, and I was kind of thinking about this before I put this book down because I really want to tell you this story. We'll get away from a book a little bit because I think this story has a good point. And the whole last year I came up here, and it's been 1 year to the T this February. Okay. And I've been up here many times before. I knew there's not much to do up here, but this is a real Thai village. I'm the only Falong here. Okay, I'm the only foreigner in the Thai village. This is real. This is like northern Thailand. I knew there was nothing to do. I thought, well, it's time for, I looked at it positive. I was like, I'll focus on me, focus on work, focus on identity work, focus on improving Chad. Okay. That's what I did the whole last year. Okay. Is focus on work, do identity work. No distraction. We don't even have a TV in here. I got my computers and stuff like that, but I didn't even buy a TV for up here because I didn't want the distraction of a TV. So I'm like, dude, I'm gonna go hardcore on identity work. Okay. And I expose a few things in me that I never it was kind of like being in the right place at the right time. Like life is happening for you, my friends, and life is not happening to you. Okay. Life is happening for your benefit. Okay. I've never lived in a place like this my entire life. I've never lived in an environment like this my entire life. So it kind of pulled out in me like certain things I've never knew that was inside of Chad. Okay. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Okay. That's a whole nother discussion. But anyway, I was kind of asking maybe about a month, maybe around the holidays, Christmas. It was coming up to a year. I kind of felt like me working on me, identity work is done as far as this chapter in my life. We're always going to self-improve. So I'm not saying that identity work is never done. We're always going to want to be a more successful version of ourselves. Okay. But I just kind of felt like this chapter was done. Okay. The chapter of Seren is done. Okay. But I was struggling with it a little bit. I was just like, is it done? Do I need a sign that it's done? And I was kind of just talking out loud to myself like crazy. If you probably saw me, you probably think, oh my God, Chad's a nutcase. Okay. But you almost want a validation. You know what I mean? You almost want a validation that is this chapter done? Okay. Is it time to move on? Because I really feel like it's time to move on. And it's funny how things work in your favor to show you that it's really done. And basically, what happened over the last probably since December, the intensity of the drama has gotten worse. Uh, and we've had to like deal with just blasting music in here, blasting music of the neighbors. I mean blasting where you can't work. Sometimes that's why I can't go live. You know what I mean? It messes up my work schedule a little bit. Uh, and we've had to get like really involved with that with the police and stuff like that. Aang's not happy anymore up here because mainly it's her village she grew up in. But even if she's telling people to turn down the music, they turn it up. You know what I mean? It's just stuff like that. Just a poor mentality. You're dealing with a mentality here. And we both just sat down maybe probably even like a few weeks ago. And Aang was kind of expressing that, that she thought it was time to move on. And I could see it. She was getting way more anxiety up here, just dealing with people and dealing with the living conditions and stuff like that. And so we decided that yes, it's time to move. So right now we're kind of transitioning back down to Bangkok. Right now we are in Surin, but we're getting ready to heavily move. Then I'm going to help Aang buy a house, so that way she has a house under her name in Bangkok. So we're transitioning to that. Okay, but what kind of led to that is it's kind of funny because Albert said again, one of his live lectures, it wasn't in his book. It's on my channel. If you go to the Never Goddard, those are all his authentic live lectures. It's really him. It's not AI. And let me get this up a little bit. I feel like I'm like leaning down too much. Like Never Goddard said in one of his live lectures, like he's like, don't be surprised that when you start doing this work, when you start living the end, when you start assuming the truth of what you want, he's like, don't be surprised that when you go to work the next day, that you get fired. He's like, don't be surprised that that doesn't happen. But he said, this is what he said. But if it does happen, he said, don't fight it. Because it needed to happen, because the reason why it needed to happen is because the universe knows, God knows, your subconscious mind knows that you're not going to move on unless it happened. Unless something forced you that you lost your job, you needed to move on. Okay. And I no, I just thought about this today, this morning. Amy and I was talking before I got on this live stream about this, and I thought about that story because I remember just a couple months ago, I asked myself, like, "Is it time to move on?" And I felt myself just still just kind of gritting my teeth, like, "Ugh," Chad can take it. I can take it up here. You know what I mean? I can take the pressure. I can stand in a fire. But but at this point, it's kind of like it was kind of like self validation that you know what, my time has come to an end. We're up here. That doesn't mean we're never going to come up here again. Don't take what I'm saying to the extreme. Okay. Aang and I talked about this. Okay. Okay. It doesn't mean that. But it was just more proof that yes, it's time to move on. Yes, you're kind of end of a chapter. Things had to like for me, things had to intensify for me to finally realize, okay, we got to get out. Okay. And at the same time, it intensified for Aang because this was the first time a few weeks ago, not today, but a few weeks ago, that Aang really, we both sat down together and said, I think enough is enough. Okay. We got to go. You know what I mean? Um, so, so I don't know what the whole point of that story was. I forgot the point, but, maybe it was a point was just, listening to signs and stuff like that. But but the more I do this work, the more I get sensitive to it, the more it's so funny because I said, I said, um, I really pay attention to like little things I manifest. I really pay attention to like things I say and they come true, you know? And I have really weird things I don't even share in my videos. Like even about this topic, when we very first came up this Surin, I said to myself, because we lived down in Hua Hin, we lived in Hua Hin for a year and a half. And when we came up to Surin, I broke my lease in my condo because I didn't like the management there. The management's kept on crossing my standards and boundaries. So I finally said enough was enough. And when we came up here, on top of saying I'm gonna focus on Chad, focus on work, the third thing I said was when we leave Surin, we're moving into a house. When we leave Surin, I'm not going back to a condo in Thailand. There's condos in Thailand, not to be negative, not all of them, but most of them are treated like hotels. So it's like I don't want to go through that again. So when we leave here, we're going into a house. It's funny how God, the universe, starts putting things in order for that to happen. And I just, I said it more than once, but I didn't meditate on it. I didn't sleep on it. This is what it's just something I said to myself, like more just fact. Like this is what's going to happen. And guess what? Probably about maybe around 6 months ago, we adopted a couple puppies. Okay. We weren't planning on it. We weren't thinking about it. It was literally spur of the moment. How Thailand works, lots of times, especially in these villages, if dogs have puppies, they usually just put them by the road. You know what I mean? Uh, Got to be careful what I say on YouTube. Um, have to do the PG version, but lots of times that the puppies get hit by cars and stuff like that, and the animals aren't treated very, not like they should be, like in the States or Europe or something like that. Um, so, but anyway, long story short, we we get these two puppies. Okay, 6 months later, now honestly in Thailand, a condo is out of the question because we got two dogs. You kind of see what I'm saying. Like I basically made this statement, like when we leave Surin, we're going into a house, no matter if we rent it, buy it, whatnot. That's what we're doing. Hands down. I'm not going into another condo. And along the way of me saying that decision, we got two puppies. Now they're 6 months old. Now from that decision, spur of the moment, wasn't thinking about anything, that has led in back up. I can't back up into a condo because a lot of condos, most condos in Thailand won't rent to you if you have a dog. Okay. So it's little things like that that I pay attention to. Is you say something one time or a few times, and then it's aligning you for things to work out in your favor. Okay. That's all I'm trying to say. Is that's what I really pay attention to. Is is it's almost how easy manifesting is, but we kind of make it difficult. Okay, we think we have to obsess over things, obsess over manifesting techniques, and we really don't. We can literally say something one time and just have conviction over it. And if we can just surrender to it, let it go, stop thinking about it, it will happen. I mean, I dude, there's so many things. Like Aang has around the house, Aang has geckos. She has like two or three like giant geckos that kind of live somewhere up in the roof. And maybe about a month ago, I said, dude, I haven't seen the geckos for a while. It's been like a long time. I haven't seen any of the geckos. And I said, I don't hear them, like because usually you can hear them. Sometimes you can see them at nighttime. They come out. And I'm like, dude, I haven't heard them and I haven't seen any for many months. I was like, are they still alive? Like, and Aang was like, oh yeah, they're still alive. It's just because it's not like bug season yet. The bugs aren't bad, so they don't come out as much. And I'm like, okay, that's dude, that's all I said. I totally forgot about it. No lie. A week and a half later, I'm walking through the living room. I'm opening the door for Money and Lucky to go outside. Those are the puppies. Like good names, huh? Um, and as I'm opening the door, I literally almost step on a baby gecko. You know what I mean? So I look at it, I'm just like I kind of have a deja vu. It's like I was just talking about geckos a week and a half ago, and I almost step on one. That's guys, that's just the power of our thoughts, the power of our words, how easy things are. And those are the things I notice. Those are the things I notice how easy it is to manifest, how easy it is to get what you want. Okay. But we put like we put like something, we put importance to it. Okay. Geckos mean nothing to the grand scheme of things. If I sit there and say, "Oh, I'm gonna get a free coffee," the next thing I know, I go to Starbucks or go to Amazon Cafe and they give me a free coffee without asking. Okay. We do this stuff all the time. We start thinking about, oh, I haven't talked to my best friend for like many, many months. Wonder what he's been up to. Then like 2 days later, he texts you. You understand? We all do this stuff, but that is manifesting. That's how it works. But we're at the same time, it works in the same consciousness. Okay. If I manifest a cup of coffee, it's on the same plane as me manifesting money. It's on the same plane as on the same plane of me saying I want my dream house. It's on the same. It's not different in a state of consciousness. Okay. But we give importance to it. We think that, oh my God, my dream house. We put what we want on a pedestal above ourselves, just like if we do SP work, talking about SP, we talk about people, we put somebody more above us, and that's what makes it hard. That's what makes attraction hard, like in the SP world. But it works and it's the same thing, it's interconnected. It's the same thing happening when we want in our mind, it's big. Okay. Think about it. Like if you want $30,000, you want to manifest $30,000 one lump sum. Think about it. It has to be normal for you, okay, for it to come to you. It can't be like, oh my God, that's such a big number. Okay. You have to get to a point that when it's just you don't look at it big no more. You look at it like, oh, I always manifest this stuff. When it becomes simple for you and it becomes natural for you, that's when it comes. Okay. That's the only thing with I kind of agree with manifesting techniques. Okay. Is that you have to do them over and over and over and over and over because what it's doing is all it's doing is training your belief. That's all it's doing, my friends. Once you believe it, it will come to you, 100%. But all it's doing is training your belief. Even if you do the never Galter technique, if you do Joseph Murphy, okay, you read Thomas Troward, whatever, okay. All it's doing is training your belief until you believe it. Until you believe that you can really have it, that's when it comes to you. You could do the never Gallo technique and lay down at nighttime. You go inside your imagination. You live in the inn. You pretend like you're acting like the most successful version of you. You're living in your dream house. You do that until you just believe you have it. Until you believe yourself like, "Dude, I can have this." Okay, and once that transition is there, that's when it comes to you. That's when everything kind of unfolds. That's when puzzle pieces will start coming together. I know that was a long story. Okay, let's continue. We're literally on the last page of the science this chapter. So this chapter is almost summed up here. Okay, he ends it with this example. I just gave you a long example of my personal story here, but then Wallace Wattles ends with an example here. But his example is, I recall now the case of one student who was told that he must see in his mind a clear picture of things he desired so that the creative thought of them might be impressed on the formless substance. I mean, take a drink. I'm a little bit dry. He was a very poor man living in a rented house. We were talking about houses. Now his example is of a house. Okay. He was a very poor man living in a rented house and having only what he earned from day to day. He could not grasp the fact that all wealth was his. So he struggled. I mean, he struggled what most of us struggle with. He struggled with the fact that all wealth was his, all money was his, what he wanted was already his. It was already in consciousness. Okay. Therefore, after thinking the matter over, he decided that he might reasonably ask for a new rug for the floor of his best room and a coal stove to heat the house during the cold weather. Pretty kind of doing what I mean. Wallace Wattles said this was a student, so it was probably like a personal. He was mentoring somebody. So he really struggled with probably the whole idea that abundance is his. He can have what he wants. He can have money and wealth because he's poor. Okay, we don't have money. It's hard for you to envision you have money or you have big money. Okay, but what he thought was, well, for my favorite room in the house, I would like a new rug, and for my house, I would like a new coal stove because in the wintertime, keep the house warm, of course. So he was kind of thinking low, but he was taking steps forward. And Wallace Wall says, following the instructions given in this book, he obtained these things in a few months. Then it dawned upon him that he had not asked enough. Isn't it so true? He asked for a little. He got the rug. He got his coal stove, and then he realized it kind of gave him confidence. He kind of gave him confidence that no matter if you want to call it manifesting, if you don't want to call it manifesting, that's fine. Like manifesting worked. Like this worked. Okay. Then he started like pondering, like, "Oh, I should have asked for more things. I shouldn't have just asked for a rug. I should have asked for more stuff." Okay. So this is kind of what he did. He said, following the instructions given in this book, he obtained these things in a few months. Then it dawned upon him that he had not asked for enough. He went through his house in which he lived and planned all the improvements he would like to make in it. He mentally added a bay window here and a room there. He continued until it was complete in his mind as the ideal home. And then he planned its furnishings. So he's going in his mind, his imagination, like he's basically doing a major home improvement. Okay, he's adding rooms, he's improving things, redecorating things. He's talking about furnishing, like furniture for his brand new furniture for the house. That's what he's doing now. Now he's gotten confidence now that I got my rug. This stuff works. I got my coal stove. Okay. Now he's going to town on this stuff. He's going to town on the teachings of Wallace Wattles at this point. And listen, this is the last paragraph. Holding the whole picture in his mind, he began living in a certain way and moving toward what he wanted. He and listen, Wallace Wattles says he owns the house now. He doesn't rent it no more. He owns the house now, and it's rebuilding and is rebuilding it according to his mental image. Now, with a still larger faith, a still larger belief, he is proceeding to get greater things. It has been unto him according to his faith, and it is so with you and with all of us. I'm going to repeat that last sentence there because I was like, it was jumping over my tongue. Okay. Listen, it has been unto him according to his faith. He's repeating scripture here, but he's paraphrasing. It is given unto you according to your belief. That's what he's saying. What is given to you is what you believe to be true. Okay. And it is so with you, and it is so with you and within all of us. See, all of us have the same power. It's not luck. It's not some people get lucky. Some people have their dream house. Only the rich get lucky. The rich steal from people. They do bad things. Okay. Sometimes I don't know why. Like, it's not that it's taught to us. I don't want to say that. Sometimes this stuff isn't taught to us that, people get lucky, it doesn't happen to everybody. I don't know, just as the older we get, we start seeing things and we just indirectly start believing it. We're around people, around conversations, even if we're listening to the conversation, but we're not really engaged in the conversation. They're not really talking to us. But just over the years, we kind of start believing that way. That why can't I have what I want? You know what I mean? Why does this person get what he wants? You know what I mean? And I don't know. I can't really answer that question. I don't know. I don't know why that happens or why we think that way, but we end up thinking that way. But that power is the same power that they have, the same power, the example Wallace Wattles used with the guy that was starting to re-envision his whole house and was getting everything he wanted, is the same power that lives in him is the same power that lives in you. Okay. It really just kind of comes down to what you really believe. And since he kind of ended it with a scripture, but he paraphrased it, it's almost you ask, believe, and receive. This is all over the New Testament. There's another one I like, and I'm gonna paraphrase it, but whatever you ask for in prayer, believe you already have it, and you will receive it. That's almost verbatim what it says. Almost, and I'm paraphrasing just off the top of my mind. You know what I mean? Whatever you ask for in prayer, believe you already have it, and you will receive it. Okay. Like I find it very interesting that, and this isn't a Bible talk, this isn't a religious talk, this is just how I interpret it. Okay. Over the years, I'm not saying I interpret it better than anybody else. This is just my own personal beliefs. That I've been a Christian my entire life. Okay. Gone to churches, gone to good churches, bad churches, different doctrines and stuff like that. I mean, I live in Thailand with everybody is Buddhist. You're either Buddhist or Muslim. You know what I mean? Um, but, and I'm going to have a brain fart here. I apologize. But one of the things I noticed, like in scripture with Jesus, is a lot of times, almost like, and I actually went through this in the New Testament, almost like 50% of the time when Jesus healed somebody, I started finding it amazing what he would say to people. Is like he would always kind of say something as like, as you believe it's done unto you, you know. It's almost like, because you believe I can do this, you're getting your answer. Um, he always said something like that in those words, or at least meant that a little bit, where that you're, according to your faith, you're healed. You understand, like like and I'm not saying Jesus didn't have power. I'm not saying Jesus didn't have power to heal you when you didn't want to be healed. But what I'm saying is it's a kind of a very unique question of, he's even repeating it to people. He's flipping it back to him. Like, I forget who he was healing at the time. Sometimes he would say things like, "Why ye of little faith? Why ye of little belief?" They want Jesus to heal him or heal them. You come to Jesus, you want Jesus to heal you, you want God to heal you, and he flips the question back to you. Why do you have such little belief in yourself? It kind of makes you think a little bit. It makes you think like, and that's why lots of times, not to go down a rabbit hole, okay, to kind of, try to wrap some of this stuff up, is that's why lots of times I've always liked very old school prosperity teachers, because I rarely follow anybody teaching manifesting success today. The reason why I don't follow them, it's not because I don't believe it, is because they've taken God out of the equation. You understand. That's just me. It doesn't mean you have to do that. That's just me. You know what I mean? Old school, you look at Thomas Troward, they wrapped everything around scripture. It makes you look at scripture way differently than you were taught, like in church or whatever. It just makes you look at it differently. That's all I'm saying. I don't like nowadays. It's not like yes, I believe differently, but I still have my same faith. I'm still a Christian. I might be more non-denominational, but I just believe scripture has way more power than what we've been taught. Okay. Or the illusion, there's way more illusion to how we're traditionally taught. Okay. Uh, and I'm not saying like the old school prosperity teachers understood it better than pastors and stuff like that. But I just like the fact that when you're talking about success, when you're talking about manifesting, when you're talking about universal laws of Mother Nature, that they kind of tie a higher power to it. You know, you're not listening to somebody that, it's Mother Nature, it's the universe, it's consciousness. Well, you know, there has to be a bigger power there. Okay, there has to be source there. Okay, and that's just me. That's just how I look at it. That's why I over the years I dig really deep into Thomas Troward, Never Goddard. It's not that much about Abdullah Train Never Goddard. It all comes from Never Goddard. Joseph Murphy, Napoleon Hill, Wallace Wattles, and there's more like on my channel I shared with old school books. This teachings go back hundreds of years. This isn't new to metaphysics today. You know what I mean? All metaphysics is science that removes God from the equation. Okay. But I'm just not into that. You know what I mean? That's just my personal thing. Uh, um, and that's why I like to do esoteric videos and stuff like that. It just makes you think a little bit. It kind of makes you think, um, makes you think how powerful we really are. Okay. And when people say like Satan, well, what is it? Satan is the prince of, I don't know, prince of darkness. Satan came to uh what is it? Satan came to steal, kill, and destroy. Satan came to deceive you. Okay. I think about this all the time. Okay. How is Satan deceiving you? He's not deceiving you if you believe in God. But how is he deceiving you? Is he deceiving you that you're not as powerful as you think you are? Is he deceiving you that God is outside of you when the truth is God is inside of you? Source is inside of you. Is he deceiving you that abundance isn't yours when abundance is yours? You know what I mean? This is a huge rabbit hole to kind of go down. Y- You understand, my friends? Um, to me, I think that's the great deception is is to is that's how Satan deceives God's people is you're not powerful. You're separate from source. Okay. And it's honestly true. You speak to sometimes I speak to so many people. I don't speak to as many people since I live in Thailand than I did in the United States. But so many people believe that. So many people think abundance isn't theirs. You know, sometimes they just don't want to believe it, but they've been beaten up by life too much. Um, when honestly, abundance is yours. Abundance is your birthright. Source is inside you. God is inside you. Then there's a lot of verses in there that some people think I take out of context, but there's so many verses in there that there's a verse from the Old Testament that Jesus repeats it in the New Testament. In the Old Testament, uh, there's a verse in there that says, "We are all gods." I think he's talking to their Pharisees at the time, something like that. Then Jesus repeats it in the New Testament. I think Jesus repeats it in the New Testament, but Jesus is talking to the Pharisees or something like that. Or he's talking to them about scripture. And he's talking to them in a way that, that since scripture is written and scripture cannot be broken, is don't you realize that you're all gods? That's a big one, kind of in a manifesting world. That's a big one, like down through Thomas Troward and especially Never Goddard. Never Goddard has a lot of stuff on that. That basically people twist it into, well, Chad, you're saying you are God. I'm not saying that I am the God. I'm saying if God dwells in me, the Holy Spirit is inside me, God, the source is inside me. Well, I'm given the same powers of God. That doesn't mean I want to be the God. It means God dwells in me. I have the powers of God. Jesus backs us up in scripture again that all the miracles, all the works that he's talking to his disciples at this point, all the miracles, all the works that you see me do, you can do also, and you can do even more. Okay. That means you are not separate from source. Okay. I mean, this is kind of, which I know what I'm talking about. This comes into a great debate most of the time. uh, because again, like I said, people twist it into a Chad. You're saying you want to be the God. That's why Satan got kicked out of heaven because he wanted to be God. Well, that's true. He wanted to be. Listen, he wanted to be God, separate from God. Okay, that's a difference. Okay, is I can have the same powers, but I have the same powers, but source is inside me. God's is inside me. Okay. That's why you have the same powers. Okay. The powers is in your mind, your belief. Okay. Um, and even that takes a lot of work because we doubt ourselves. We let worry, doubt, and fear creep in. We deep down, we think that, well, is it really true? Can I call the unseen into the seen? Okay. Can I say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it has to move? It has to listen to me. It has to crumble into the sea. Okay. Even when Jesus, like, he told the disciples to to take the boat across the sea, Jesus would meet him over there, and they listened to him right in the middle of the sea. There was a flipping huge, massive storm like a hurricane, They're so scared, the disciples, uh, they wanted to turn back. And I think Peter at the time, Peter was like, no, no, no. I mean, Jesus said for us to meet him over there, we have to do what he says. He said to come over there, but they're in this massive hurricane weather. They said, we gotta go back, or we're all gonna flip and die. Then right in the middle, they see Jesus kind of, that's when he's like walking on water. Okay. They think it's a ghost. Then Peter says, no, that's Jesus. Peter gets out of the boat. Not that Jesus gets out of the boat. Peter gets out of the boat. In the beginning, Peter starts walking on water. Okay. Because his focus is on Jesus. His focus is on God. But all of a sudden, this is our 3D world. This is our five senses. All of a sudden, this is like a metaphor of our own junk we go through. All of a sudden, he sees the waves, he sees the rain, now it doesn't say they're going through a hurricane, but I'm just saying that it had to be hurricane weather to scare him to go back. He sees all this with his own eyeballs, and worried out and fear creeps in like that. Once fear creeps in, he sinks, he falls into the water. Then Jesus leans down with his hand and picks him back up out of the water. What did Jesus say to him? And I forget, I'm paraphrasing again because I don't have it right in front of me. It's almost like, ye of little faith, why don't you believe? It's our belief. It's our belief in everything. This is even switching it back to another law of assumption. That's why it's like, whatever you assume to be true has to happen to you. You have to experience. With law of attraction in general, it's a double-edged sword. That's what people don't understand. It's a double-edged sword. Some people like to debate law of attraction. It all means the same thing to me. A lot of people like to debate it. Well, I had something bad happen to me, so that means like law of attraction isn't real. No, it means law of attraction is real, but law of attraction is a double-edged sword. It means you're attracting good and bad to you. Okay, it's whatever you assume to be true. It's whatever you dwell your thoughts on is going to come to you. Okay, if you think negative all the time, listen to this. Negative has to come back to you. Good isn't going to come back to you when Chad thinks negative all the time. Okay, that's not in harmony with universal law. If I think negative all the time, well, guess what? The only thing can come back to me is negative. But the same truth is true also. If I think positive all the time, well, the only thing to come back to me is positive. Okay, it's a double-edged sword. Both things are happening. Okay, depending upon our deep-rooted beliefs, what we secretly dwell on, what we secretly believe. Now, I can tell you I believe something, but deep down, I'm thinking, that's not true. I don't believe that. You understand? Your secret beliefs get exposed. What you secretly really believe, what you tell nobody. Okay, you don't even, if you're married, you don't even tell your spouse. Your parents don't even know what your secret beliefs are. Okay. But your subconscious knows. See, that's the difference. That your subconscious knows your secret beliefs, and that's what's driving it, is your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is nicknamed your spiritual mind. Why does it nickname it your spiritual mind? That's your connection to source. That's the connection to God. Okay. That's where kind of all your gut feelings come from, your intuition comes from, my friends. Okay. I kind of went down a real rabbit hole with that. I don't know why. I just kind of felt like talking about that. I don't know why. I think that when he wrapped it up in this chapter was okay. I like it. I think reading it out loud, it was kind of getting to a point. It was hard for me to use examples. I struggle with this chapter, at least reading it and trying to explain it. But But chapter 7, we're not going to go through it now, but tomorrow, chapter 7 is on gratitude. I think gratitude is actually 2 chapters, if I'm not mistaken. No, no, it's not. It's only 1 chapter. Um, but tomorrow will be on gratitude. Um, but anyway, my friends, Dante, I'm gonna have to get to all your comments here. Um, because I could feel myself having brain farts when I was talking. I'm sorry like that. My brain, I don't know why. My maybe I'm getting hungry. Maybe I start thinking about food a little bit. I didn't want, I would start telling stories and stuff like that. I haven't had a chance to look at your comments and stuff like that. Um, but I will, even if I end this live stream, I'll look at your comments, read your comments, I'll reply back to you. Uh, so I know you were. I love the comments, by the way. Anyway, so I mean, but give me time to kind of read them and stuff like that. And I'll reply back to you. Um, but um, but yeah, I think that's it. I don't have anything else unless anybody has questions or anything. Uh, so we've been going how long now? Maybe an hour and 15 minutes, something like that. So but we talked about a lot here, kind of went off on a tangent, a lot of stuff. And kind of what I was personally kind of going through here up in Surin. Surin's been great. It's not, it's been a it's been a good experience. It's always good to kind of live in a different culture that you never lived before, you never experienced before. So but Surin had to happen for me. What I mean? I needed to experience it. You know what I mean? 3 things when we wrap this up, 3 things that really got exposed to me in Surin with identity work, going kind of deep in identity work is is the 3 core issues with Chad is what got exposed up in here was the runner side of me is like when the going gets tough, I run. Okay. That was a hard one for me because I never looked at myself as a runner. And I mean runner, you want to run back to your comfort zone, mm, run back to safety, whatever that comfort zone means to you. Like when the going gets tough, you want to run back to the comfort zone. The relationship with a relationship gets tough, you want to run back to your comfort zone. Maybe you end the relationship. You know what I mean? Just because it's getting tough. Okay, that was exposed to me. A second one was blame. Is when things happen, I blamed other people. I never thought I was a blamer. Really, I'm joking, but I never thought I was a blamer. You know what I mean? I never thought I've always thought because I've always been into success and stuff like that, and I always thought that I accepted 100% responsibility for my life, for my choices, for my decisions. But that got exposed in me up here. Okay, with the working on the inner depths of Chad is that when things occurred, I blamed. Okay. Like one of the biggest examples is that I rebuilt the front wall for Ang. We put up a really nice gate. Rebuilt the front. We were going to redo the whole wall around the property, but the contractor we hired literally just did a horrible job. I mean, didn't follow directions at all. Didn't even follow the design I chose. That's how bad it was. Now it looks good far away when I'm on camera and stuff like that, but once you walk up close to it, you just like, it's like, who in the hell built this? Like we literally have to, we literally have to redo the whole thing. You know what I mean? Um, but that brought up that blame in me. I wanted to blame the contractor. Okay. I started down the rabbit hole of blaming Ang because I was thinking, well, Ang, you're the one that's translating for me, translating and tie everything I want, making sure they treat the steel so it doesn't rust. They didn't even treat the steel, dude. Within 3 days, it started to rust. I'm not even joking when they were done. They watered down the paint. I mean, I'm talking about all types of cheesy stuff. Okay. It took me about a month to get over this. I'm not even joking. You could probably still sense it in me when I talk about it. But you know what? It was my fault. Okay. The reason why it was my fault is I saw it. I saw at one point, I thought back at the story, and it was right in the beginning. It was like day two, they started working and they installed this. They installed it's like a metal rod that goes across your concrete. So I'm gonna say your garage door um, goes back and forth. Your driveway door goes back and forth. Okay, that's the first thing they installed. They installed it the very next day. That thing rusted to shit. Okay. In the beginning, I said, no rust. You got to treat everything. Okay. Right there, they crossed my boundary. I should have just, my instinct was to stop the whole project and find somebody else, but I didn't listen to it. I didn't listen to myself. I even went over and talked to him in person about it, but I gave in to his excuses and gave in to everything. I let them override my standards and boundaries. And listen, after I let them override my standards and boundaries, or I listened to their excuses, that everything went downhill. Okay. So that really opened up my eyes where, you know, you are 100% responsible for everything that you do. Okay. And what was the runner, blame, guilt? The third one was guilt. Is is guilt got exposed to me. Like guilt with me, but maybe guilt that people struggle with is I kind of started feeling guilty around like abundance, feeling guilty around fun. If I wanted to have fun, I wanted to do something, I felt guilty around it because that's kind of that old workaholism with me. Like I always think I need to work, 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 work. You know what I mean? And and that got exposed up in with me up in Surin is is I felt guilty, you know. Even if Aang wanted to have a beer, me sitting down having a beer with her for a half hour, I felt guilty about it. You know, it's like, oh, I should be working. I should be doing something else. I should be doing something more important. You know what I mean? And I develop an affirmation around that. Like, every time I have fun, I get richer. You know what I mean? Uh, Stuff like that. But those are the three things that really got exposed. Those are the three things I really learned about myself. Uh, Up here in Surin, but up here like doing identity work. Just working on me, working on Chad. I think the puppies are scratching on the door. They're like, Chad, you've been in the room forever. Sometimes they want to come in here and sleep. They want to come in here and take a nap. And when I have the door shut, they can't get in. I can hear their little feet like hit the door. Like they're probably like, Chad, I know you're in here. I can hear your voice. Aren't animals funny? Um, but but yeah. But anyway, tribe, I gotta go. I'm actually really am getting hungry. I was joking I was hungry right in the beginning of this live stream, but it's been about an hour and a half, so I'm gonna have to get something to eat. And Dante, 100%. I'm gonna read your all your comments. I'll get back to you. Thanks for commenting, of course. And I didn't get a chance to read them all. But I will, and I'll get back to you. And but anyway, peace out. Remember, I love you guys. I don't know what time it is. I mean, it's 12:40 p.m. in Thailand, so lots of time it's late in all aspects of every place else. But thanks for hanging in. Thanks for listening to me. Tomorrow I'll go live again, and we will be on, I think it's chapter 7. Chapter 7 is on gratitude with the science of getting rich. That's it. That one's a wonderful chapter. Just talk about gratitude in general, being grateful for everything going on. I gotta stop there because I'll start talking about it. But anyway, tribe, I gotta go. I gotta go grab a bite to eat. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in, and I will talk to everybody tomorrow. If you have any questions, you can comment, or if you're on the live tomorrow, you can ask me tomorrow. But anyway, remember, I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next live tomorrow.